faced the devil, you were no stranger to the rain. So go rest high on that mountain, 'cause son, your work on earth is done. Go to heaven shouting, love for the Father and the Son. Oh, how we cried the day you left us. We gathered round your grave to grieve. Wish I could see angels' faces when they hear your sweet voice sing. So go rest high on that mountain, son, your work on earth is done. Go to heaven shouting, love for the Father and the Son. Go rest high on that mountain, 'cause son, your work on earth is done. Go to heaven shouting, love for the Father and the Son. Go to heaven shouting, love for the Father and the Son.
Just before we start the service, ladies and gentlemen, I could point you perhaps in the direction of quite a few chairs up the front if you would like to take advantage of those. Instead of standing, entirely up to you, but many comfortable seats right up the front here. That's the stuff. Officially, it's good afternoon to you all, and on behalf of Craig's family, I welcome you as you have gathered to pay your respects to a good man, Mr. Craig Andrew Butler. My name is Dudley Corbett, and I am indeed honoured to be invited by the family to conduct this celebration of Craig's life. And what a life to be celebrated. And you people have come amazingly the attendance here today to pay your respects to this unique fella. The service will take place in its entirety here in the chapel. At the end of the service, the family would love to have you join them for refreshments right here at Parkside, and many other stories which will be swapped and told, no doubt about that. The family have also asked me to thank you for this amazing attendance here today, to assure you of the great comfort it gives them to know that Craig was so loved and so respected. Craig would not have wanted a big fuss made at his farewell, I'm sure. He would have said several things, but one of them would have been, now don't go on too long, mate, make it short and sweet, but tell my family and friends to move on and to make the most of their time. Craig certainly wouldn't want you to be sad, but he would be so thankful that you good people here today meant so much to him. And you will all have and hold dear many special memories of this special bloke. And those memories will stay with you forever, and you will always treasure his lasting legacy. Nothing can now detract from all that you have shared with Craig. Nothing can now affect the great happiness that he himself knew. The past, with all its meaning, is sacred. It is also secure. And your love for Craig and his love for you, his family and friends, can never be altered by time or by circumstance. We are live streaming the service today, and for those of you who are unable to come to be here in person, the family does know that you are with them anyway in spirit, and there's a special shout out to John in Melbourne, one of Craig's very good mates and a fellow blue bagger. Go the Blues, mate. Last start wasn't too good, but never mind. It's a long road. As I sat with the family the other day, I learned a few things about Craig. I would like to share a few of those before we have a couple of very important speakers to share their stories. Craig was born in Burnie on the 18th of June 1962 to Jimmy and Leonora, and of course we mention here his stepmum Marlene and siblings sister Julie and his hound dog Marley, who I became acquainted with the other day. I think Marley would have came home with me. Yeah. Would have eaten half a sheep a day, I reckon, wouldn't he? Big dog. There were 3 children, Jason, Helen and Sean, and he was proud of his grandchildren, and he was known as Grandad. He went to school at the Burnie Primary and later Parklands High, and after that he went to Hillier College. And he had a few shifts, a few jobs in his lifetime. Before he went to Brisbane, he was a cheesemaker, I suppose, you'd say, by trade. And he went to Brisbane, and then he came back to work at Lactos later on. He was in the army for 9 years, and you'll hear a bit more about his army service a little bit later on when the RSL people pay their tributes towards the end. He worked on various farms. He worked in a place called Kapuka and Wagga, and, well, his army mates could tell you a few stories, I'm sure. Maybe around the bar a bit later on. Yes, his hobbies, I'm told, very simple: 8-ball and beer. And he liked a beer on a hot day. And if it wasn't hot enough, he'd throw another log on the fire. Well, I don't know whether he would or not, but he did like a beer. He was a sporting man, sporting fanatic. He played footy with Ridgely and South Burnie and Caprona. As we said earlier, he was a rabid Carlton man. What a wonderful judge. And he played rugby league and footy while he was doing, his army service. He played volleyball and he played cricket, and he made the Tasmanian volleyball team, and also was selected in the Australian squad at one stage. He was very sports orientated, and but most of all his mates, they were the main thing in his life, and he relied heavily on them, and they relied heavily upon him, and he made just so many friends, and that's evident by the wonderful turnout here today. He loved TV movies, the action ones, and he loved sport, and he used to watch all this stuff in his man cave. He did travel a little bit with the army. He went to the US and Canada. He loved old-time country music, and with a tinge of rock music thrown in there occasionally. So he was a man of many traits and many interests, but more than anything else, a man with many friends. He spent his last time in the hospital at Burnie, and the family would like to say a heartfelt thank you to the ICU department in Burnie, and also thank you to Parkside for allowing Parkside to say goodbye. Yeah, I have a tribute here. Somebody who shall remain nameless, I think he might know who he is and you might know, tells me that at one stage Craig broke into Mama Rosa's pizza house to make a pizza for himself. Anyway, it wasn't long before the cops came, and I don't know whether he got to finish making the pizza or not, but anyway, while he was halfway through making the pizza with plenty of peppers and plenty of hot stuff on it, they tell me, a female officer apprehended him and said, "Well, you've probably been with us before a time or two, you know where we're going now." And he said, "Yes, I'll come with you if you dance with me from here to the police station." And she's, "All right," she said. So there they were. They did the two-step or something, whatever it was, all the way to the cop shop. Yeah. And I know only Craig would have got away with that. Yeah. He had a couple of other funny little incidents in his life, and one of them, or a couple of them, were when he had a little bit of the cranky juice. He was akin to take his clothes off and dive into the pool and hang upside down. And, oh, brother, the mind boggles, really. But he enjoyed life and enjoyed his mates, and his mates obviously enjoyed being with him, and the camaraderie that they shared, absolutely amazing. So, and today we've gathered to say a final farewell to this lovable larrikin. There's no doubt about that. He was a man who endeared himself to just so many people. I said earlier we have some very important speakers, and now I'd like to call on Michelle, first cab off the rank, to tell us a story or two and eulogise our man. Michelle, it's over to you. It's all yours.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for being here today. I stand before you as Craig's stepsister and speak these words on behalf of Jimmy, Craig's father, and Julie, Craig's sister, whose hearts are heavy with an unbearable sorrow to bid a final farewell to their beloved son and brother Craig. Words seem inadequate to describe the depth of their bond and the magnitude of their loss. Craig shared a special tradition with his dad on their weekly visits. These visits were a cherished ritual, a time where they would sit together, father and son, immersing themselves in war movies and other gory movies, simply enjoying each other's company. It was during these moments that they unpacked the trivia of the week, discussed the state of the nation, and found solace in each other's presence. In the past week, many of you have shared stories about Craig with us, stories that have filled us with immense pride and even brought a few much-needed laughs. A common thread in all these stories have been Craig's unwavering selflessness. He always put the needs of others before his own, embodying a spirit of kindness and generosity, and touched the lives of everyone he met. We want to thank you all for being here today, knowing that many of you have travelled a long way. Your presence means the world to our family and is a testament to the impact Craig had on us all. Today, we hope that some of you will find the courage to come up here and share your memories of Craig with us. Your words and stories will help to keep his spirit alive in our hearts, reminding us of the remarkable person he was. Craig, we will miss you more than words can express. The void you leave behind is immeasurable, but the love and memories we shared will forever be a part of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Obviously no stranger to a microphone. Well done. Karaoke. Oh, well. Do you want some of that now, or Jimmy, you come up and sing, or something? Yeah. No, thanks, Michelle. That was beautiful, and Michelle has given you the invitation, ladies and gentlemen, to come and share a story with us very shortly, if you feel so minded. I'd now like to call on Anne to share something with us, and Anne, no doubt, would have a myriad of stories and recollections, no doubt. I'll leave it up to you what you would like to share with us. Thank you.
Okay, I'm not leaving this to the pub because some of you mightn't be there, so you're going to hear it all here. Firstly, I just want to really thank Julie and Jimmy for the honour of being asked to pay tribute to Craig today. You may all know him as Craig, but to James, my daughter Ella and I, he was affectionately known as Big Craig. And that's because we needed to differentiate him between our pet dog that was also Craig. It's incredibly difficult to speak of the life and meaning of someone's life in relation to anyone who has passed away and to do justice to them and their legacy. But with Big Craig, this almost seems impossible. I struggled to know where and how to start describing this giant of a man and convey his essence and the imprint he made on my life. I've no doubt all of you here would be struggling to do the same. So I'm going to backtrack a little bit and tell you a bit about how Big Craig came into my life and why he's held such a special place in my heart since and always will. About 10 years ago, I met Big Craig through my then new partner, James. These two boys had been great friends for many years, along with their sidekick, Gary the Gigolo. Put up your hand. There he is, the man of the moment. Now, that nickname is a story in and of itself. I won't digress, but I will later. These three boys were legendary and the very best of mates. So yes, 10 years ago, Craig became an acquaintance, then a friend, a rock and a confidant, and eventually something so special I don't have the words to describe it. Over those 10 years, I came to discover just what a great man he truly was, as well as being a totally fun and lovable human. Over those years, he and Gary graced James and I with their presence on several occasions when they came to Hobart to visit us after James moved from Burnie to Hobart. And let me assure you, they were the most fun and memorable of visits for all the right and wrong reasons. Visit number 1. So Craig and Gary arrived with enough grog to sink the Titanic and a 12-month supply of cheese. Thanks, Craig. That has now come to an abrupt end. Night number 1. So I cook a roast to line their stomachs. Then the hard drinking and yarn-telling session begins. It included a few laps around the crib board and ended surprisingly well, all things considered. The next morning was a girl's worst nightmare, venturing into that toilet after the night before, not knowing what I would discover on or around that toilet bowl. But no, not too bad when I think about what it could have been like in there. Later that morning, we headed off to Port Arthur in pretty crap weather conditions. I was obviously the des for the day, given the prolific drinking that had gone on the night before. But safety first, as they say. We had the best day, traipsing around the historic site in the rain, me listening to the three of them do that tough guy talk thing and feeling so delighted that they were together, enjoying one another's company so much. That night there was more crib playing, pumping out of their favourite tunes and a weeny bit less drinking. Fast forward several months and Gary and Big Craig are down visiting again. Yes, a glutton for punishment. This visit, we headed in the New Norfolk direction and discovered a cute little microbrewery in the middle of nowhere. Craig bought up big time and took a stockpile of craft beers back to Burnie with him. Another great few days were spent in his company. Happy days for sure. Then there was the point in our friendship where Craig became something so much more than a fun friend to hang out with. 8 years into our friendship, my partner James, one of Craig's best mates, died suddenly. After this, Craig rang me at least every other day. We talked about James, we cried, we reminisced, we talked, we reminisced, and in our shared loss of another great man, we grew incredibly close and remained so. At James's funeral, Craig referred to him as being like a brother, but also like a father. I vividly remember him then looking up at me and saying, "So I guess that makes you my mum now, Anne?" And I go, "Hell no, Craig, that is just so wrong." So at the end of the day, it's hard to put into words what he was to me. All I know is that he was incredibly special and incredibly loved. Over the past 2 weeks since Craig left us, I've been playing lots of music that he loved, and music that has soothed my soul and helped me grasp the magnitude of his loss to us. I've been playing Lou Reed's Perfect Day on repeat. The lyrics, "It's such a perfect day, I'm glad I spent it with you," have been resonating so loudly. I've thought long and often of many of the days and times shared with Craig, with him and his friends and others who loved him. And I've come to realise that these days, although they were just ordinary old days, they were also perfect. Because Craig was a part of them. Each and every one of us has our own special relationship with Craig. We each know him differently, but what I'm certain of is that we all saw something very similar in him, and we all felt something similar when we were with him. He made us all feel like we mattered to him. He had all the time in the world for us. And as Jean would say, he was one of the kindest of men. In the same way that Craig never came to the barbecue empty-handed, he never came to life empty-handed either. Craig gave to excess, he loved to excess, and he was kind to excess, even to those many would consider unworthy of that. He never kept tally of what he gave, and he expected little, if anything, in return. There were few people in this world with Big Craig's generosity of heart and spirit, and he extended that generosity not only to his closest friends, but to anyone else within his orbit. Anyone who got to be cared for and loved by Craig should most definitely consider themselves to be one of the luckiest people in the world. If you want to take away from this, I just suggest you go home and watch A Dog's Life and A Dog's Journey, because that will give you an insight into who this beautiful man really was. And just to finish with, I found this really beautiful poem, and I think hopefully it will kind of speak to everyone here. It says, "We will talk about him because he deserves to be remembered. We will talk about him because even though he is not physically with us, he is never far from our mind. We will talk about him because he is a part of us, a part that we can never ignore or disown. We will talk about him because we love him still and always will forever. Nothing will ever change that."
Well done, Anne. As with some amazing tributes from some amazing people about an amazing bloke. Yeah. Now, as I said earlier, I'll be opening the service. For someone who would care to share a story with us, is there any of you who... I know there are a million stories. Some of them could even be shared in public. So if there... Yes, sir.
Can't see. Afternoon, my name's Greg Steele and I serve with Craig in 6th Platoon, B Company, 89 RAR in Brisbane. Our journey started in the early 80s in B Company, where he eventually became my Section 2 IC, which is a Lance Corporal and I was the Corporal. Craig was a good NCO who I could rely on without reservation, but more importantly, during the time he became a great mate. We worked hard and we played even harder. And from week to week, we seemed to take it in turn to see who get into the most strife. The jury is still out in that to see who won that battle. One incident that comes to mind was when we were preparing to go our bush and Craig was missing after a big night. Thinking I was doing him a favour, I asked the diggers to pack his gear so that when he arrived, he was ready to go. Unfortunately, the diggers did such a great job that Craig didn't have any uniforms left to wear. So he rocked on parade in his civilians, and at that stage, I was the acting platoon sergeant, and the acting platoon commander informed me that I had to charge him, which I did, and every time we seen each other from there on, he abused me for it. Never let me forget that one. Craig was a natural sportsman and played several sports in the battalion, but he made his biggest mark playing Aussie rules for 8-9 and beating our bitter rivals 6 RAR in the grand final for the first time ever. I also remember playing volleyball after PT. I'll find out where I was. And we'd play PT, and we didn't know at that stage that Butts had represented Tasmania as a junior in volleyball, and we used to muck around. And once we found out, we made it even worse for him, and he'd walk off with the shits, go out in the corner and sit down. But it's quite good. Craig was respected by the majority, his peers in the battalion. Once you got to know Craig and became mates, you were friends forever. He was a kind, generous person who loved to laugh and loved to do practical jokes. And he would do anything for his friends. There is a group of Butts Army family who are here today. Please come and see us. We'll be more than happy to tell you more stories of his time in the battalion. I was once told that you'd have 100 mates while serving in the army, but you'll ever have a handful of true friends. Craig Andrew Butler, you were one of them for me. Rest easy, brother.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for that. And apparently one of the occasions where Craig appeared in public with clothing on. Might not have been a uniform, but at least it was something. Do we have any other speakers? Anyone to share a story with us before we move on? Well, oh yes, we do have. Many are the stories, and here comes a few more. Thank you for sharing, sir.
Now I'm Des Blaisley. I was his Aussie rules football coach. You had to be a psychologist to get Craig to play properly. You had to suck up to him, tell him how good he was, and you'd get the best out of him. But Craig's a different sort of bloke, and we got a daughter that, what's she, about 55, 56. He's already proposed to her some time ago. Never kept his promise, of course. And then just recently, the last couple of weeks while he was in Brisbane, Craig got on the phone, and because I'm having that bit of chemo stuff, and he just assumes that I'm going to go before him. So what did he do? Steely was there, would have heard it. He said to Anne, he said, oh, well, when he's gone, she said, when he said, "I'll look after you," he said, "I'll come up and move in, we can look after you too." Yeah, just like that. And he didn't even hold up that end of the bargain. Look at that.
Yeah, thank you for that. A lot of fun stories about fun times with a lot of fun mates. Is there somebody else before we move on? All right then. Thank you for the input there, people. I know the family do appreciate those very kind words. We're now about to go back in time in Craig's life per virtue of some lovely family photographs that the family have put together, and listen to some of Craig's favourite music in the background. So stand by as history unfolds.
Well, I've heard those city singers singing about how they can love deeper than the oceans, higher than the stars above. Well, I come from the country and I know I ain't seen it all, but I heard that ocean's salty and the stars they sometimes fall, and that would not do justice to the way I feel for you. So I had to sing a song about all the things I knew. My love is deeper than the holler, stronger than the river, higher than the pine trees growing tall upon the hill. My love is purer than the snowflakes that fall in late December, and honest as a robin on a springtime windowsill, and longer than the song of a whippoorwill. From the back roads to the Broadway shows with 1,000,000 miles between, there's at least 1,000,000 love songs that people love to sing. And everyone is different, and everyone's the same, and this is just another way of saying the same thing. My love is deeper than the holler, stronger than the river, higher than the pine trees growing tall upon the hill. My love is purer than the snowflakes that fall in late December, and honest as a robin on a springtime windowsill, and longer than the song of a whippoorwill. My love is deeper than the holler, stronger than the river, higher than the pine trees growing tall upon the hill. My love is purer than the snowflakes that fall in late December, and honest as a robin on a springtime windowsill, and longer than the song of a whippoorwill. A whippoorwill.
up high, and the dreams that you dream of once in a lullaby. Oh, somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly. Dreams that you dream of, dreams really do come true. Ooh, someday wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where trouble melts like lemon drops, high above the chimney top. That's where you find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, and the dream that you dare to, oh why can't I? Well, I see trees of green and red roses too. I'll watch them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Well, I see skies of blue and I see clouds of white and the brightness of day. I like the dark and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, singing, how do you do? They really say, I love you. I hear babies cry and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than we'll know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Someday I wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where trouble melts like a lemon drops, high above the chimney top. That's where you find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, and the dream that you dare to, why, oh why can't I?
Yeah, some amazing memories there for you family to keep, and thank you for sharing them with us today. So hold your loved ones close today and whisper in their ear. Tell them how much you love them and that you'll always hold them dear. Take time to say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, or it's okay. And if tomorrow never comes, then you'll have no regrets about today. I think Craig's wish for those of you remaining would be what is known as the Irish blessing. May the road rise up to meet you, may the wind be always at your back, may the sun shine warmly upon your face, and the rains fall softly on your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you safely in the palm of his hand. We're about to come to the end of my particular part of the service, called the committal, and then I'll be handing over to Mr. Adrian Radford to conclude today's proceedings on behalf of the RSL. So, before I do the committal, I would like once again to offer my personal sympathy to the entire family, and to thank you for the great honour that you've paid me in helping to say farewell to this well-loved man. Thank you so much. It's been a great honour. Thank you. So we have now reached that part. Thank you. We have now reached that part of our service we call the committal, where we commit Craig to the next stage of his journey. These then are the last rites in the natural life of Mr. Craig Andrew Butler. We have met to pay tribute and to say farewell, and so tenderly and reverently we commit Craig for cremation. Earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Grateful for the life that has been lived and for all that life has meant to each and every one of us. We now leave Craig in peace, and with the greatest of respect we bid him farewell. And thus thinking of him, let us leave this place in quietness of spirit and live with concern for one another, resolved that we who live on and those who come after us shall have life and have it more abundantly, as per Craig's wishes. You were a good man to many people, Craig, gone but not forgotten, gone but never apart, for we are blessed with memories held deeply within our hearts. Thank you for many of those wonderful memories, Craig. Farewell, and may you forever rest in peace. And I have to say it, go the mighty Blues. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'd now like to call on Mr. Adrian Radford to continue and to complete our service here today. Thank you.
Thanks, Dudley. Craig Butler, service number 63548, enlisted in the Australian Regular Army on 15th of April 1980 and discharged 15th of January 1989. During his career, Craig reached the rank of Lance Corporal in June 1984, Corporal in 1988. Craig was scheduled to undergo his Sergeant promotion course at the time of his discharge. After basic training at Kapooka in April to June 1980, he was posted to the Royal Australian Infantry in Singleton and then posted to 8-9 Battalion RAR the same year. In 1982, Craig did a 4-month tour of duty in Malaysia, 1984 Army exercise in Canada, and then 1985 another tour back to Malaysia. During his Army career, Craig was qualified as a Rifleman Grade 1, 1980, Rifleman Grade 2, 1982, then Assault Pioneer, 1985. As previously heard, Craig was also a stalwart within the defence sporting scene. He was a prominent member of both the football and rugby teams and was selected in the South Queensland football team and then went on to becoming president of the defence football team. Craig was also a very successful athlete, competing in both inter-service athletics and volleyball teams. In a moment, the last post and the rouse will be played. The last post is played to indicate Craig has completed his life's work and has entered into rest. The rouse is played to indicate the awakening of his new soul into a new life. For those that are able, please upstanding for the ode. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. Lest we forget. Please be seated. The service of the day is over and the hour has come to rest. This blood red poppy, the traditional emblem of sacrifice, the symbol of a life and sacrifice that Craig was prepared to do for his nation. We place this on his coffin today with him as a token of our appreciation. At ease, soldier. I would now like to invite Craig's family, if they wish to come and place a poppy, as a mark of respect for Craig.
Stood there boldly, sweating in the sun. Felt like a million, felt like number one. The height of summer, I'd never felt that strong. Like a rock. I was 18, didn't have a care, working for peanuts, not a dime to spare. But I was leaning, solid everywhere, like a rock. Hands were steady, my eyes were clear and bright. My walk had purpose, my steps were quick and light. And I held firmly to what I felt was right, like a rock. Like a rock. I was strong as I could be, like a rock. Nothing ever got to me, like a rock. I was something to see, like a rock. And I stood arrow straight,
But by the weight of all these hustlers and their schemes, I stood proud, I stood tall, high above it all.
We'd now like to invite Craig's fellow veterans and his mates to place a poppy as a mark of respect for Craig's military service.
Years now, where'd they go? 20 years, I don't know. I sit and I wonder sometimes where they've gone.
Ladies and gentlemen, please bear with me for 1 second. I'd like to call on the ex-serving members to come out. I'm just going to do a short honour guard for Craig as we lead him in the fairly out. Soldiers, 2 ranks, one on that side, one on that side. Do not worry, I'm not going to call a drill, you'll both pass. 2 ranks, all the fellas, facing that way. Push the ranks way down. As you see, we're well coordinated, aren't we?
It's following me. Sorry, guys, we've got to get this together. We'll be right back. We'll work it out.
Farewell, Craig. Enjoy the journey of your freedom that follows and join fellow veterans in the lasting journey of peace, solace and harmony that you helped create doing your duty to our country. That's it.
The snowflakes fall as winter comes, and time just seems to fly. Is it the loneliness in me that makes me want to cry? My heart is sad like a mourning dove that's lost its mate in flight. Hear the cooing of his lonely heart through the stillness of the night. Whispering pines, tell me, is it so? Whispering pines, you're the one who knows my darling's gone, oh she's gone, and I need your sympathy. Whispering pines, send my baby back to me. See that squirrel up in the tree, his mate there on the ground. Hear their barking call of love for the happiness they found. Is my love still my love? Oh, this I gotta know. Send a message by the wind, because I love her so. Whispering pines, tell me, is it so? Whispering pines, you're the one who knows my darling's gone, oh she's gone, and I need your sympathy. Whispering pines, send my baby back to me.